What if I told you that the weather patterns you grew up with are changing drastically? Yes, it's true. Our Earth's climate is transforming before our very eyes, and it's not for the better. We're seeing a significant increase in the frequency and severity of weather events. It's not just your imagination. Summers are getting hotter, winters colder, hurricanes more destructive, and wildfires more rampant. This isn't the natural order of things, but a consequence of climate change. Climate change is not a distant threat, it's a present reality. The Earth's average temperature has risen by more than 1 degree Celsius since the late 19th century, an increase driven largely by increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions into the atmosphere. This warming is causing long-lasting changes to our climate system, which threatens irreversible consequences if we do not act. But where does this leave us? Staring down a bleak future? Not necessarily. The key lies in understanding that human activities are a major contributor to climate change. We are, in essence, the architects of our own predicament. But that also means we have the power to change the course of our future. Let's talk about solutions. To combat climate change, we must reduce our carbon footprint. This means rethinking how we live and work, how we travel, what we buy, and what we eat. It's time to shift to renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and hydroelectric power. It's time to promote sustainable practices in our industries, agriculture, and homes. But more than anything, it's time to act. If we want to leave a habitable planet for our children and grandchildren, we must take decisive action now. We can slow down climate change. We can protect our planet. If we act now, we can slow down climate change and protect our planet for future generations. Did you know that every year, 8 million metric tons of plastic end up in our oceans? Now that's not just a drop in the ocean, it's a colossal wave of plastic waste that's engulfing our marine ecosystems, choking our wildlife and transforming pristine waters into toxic soup. It's a plastic pandemic, and its impacts are far-reaching and devastating. Every plastic bag, bottle, or straw we casually dispose of has a life beyond the trash bin. It embarks on a journey, often ending up in our oceans, where it fragments into microplastics, invisible assassins that infiltrate the food chain. From the smallest plankton to the largest whale, no marine creature is immune to this plastic plague. But where does all this plastic come from? The answer is simple: us. Our convenience-driven lifestyle has fostered a throwaway culture. We've become reliant on single-use plastics that serve their purpose for a fleeting moment, only to exist indefinitely as waste. But don't let this grim picture dishearten you. There's hope yet. The solution lies in our hands, in our choices. It's time for us to rethink our plastic consumption. Imagine if we could reduce our plastic usage, opt for a reusable shopping bag instead of a plastic one, choose a metal straw or a refillable water bottle. Small changes, big impact. Recycling is another powerful weapon in our arsenal against plastic pollution. By giving plastics a second life, we can prevent them from ending up in our oceans. However, recycling isn't a cure-all. It's a part of a larger strategy that includes reducing and reusing. Lastly, we can turn to sustainable alternatives. Materials like glass, metal, or compostable bioplastics can fulfill many of the same functions as traditional plastics, without the environmental fallout. By making conscious choices, we can help to turn the tide on plastic pollution. We can be the change we wish to see in our oceans. So let's embark on this journey together and stem the plastic pandemic, because a world without plastic-filled oceans is not just a dream, it's a possibility within our reach. Imagine a world without the flutter of a butterfly's wings or the chirping of birds. Sounds dull, doesn't it? But this is more than a matter of aesthetics or sentimentality. Our planet's biodiversity is under threat, and the consequences are far-reaching. Biodiversity, the variety of life on Earth, is like a vast and intricate web, with each species playing a unique role. When one thread is removed, the entire web is disrupted, potentially leading to the collapse of ecosystems. And this isn't just about the loss of exotic species in far-off rainforests. It affects us too. Our food systems, for instance, heavily depend on biodiversity. The extinction of a single pollinator species could disrupt the production of crops that feed millions. Our health is also at risk. Many of the medicines we use today are derived from nature, and who knows what life-saving cures could be lost with the extinction of undiscovered species? So what's causing this rapid loss of biodiversity? A multitude of factors. Habitat destruction, for example, is a significant culprit. As we clear land for agriculture or urban development, we're essentially evicting countless species from their homes. Climate change, too, is a major driver. As temperatures rise and weather patterns shift, many species are struggling to adapt. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are solutions within our reach. Habitat conservation, for instance, is crucial. By protecting natural areas from development, we can provide safe havens for endangered species. Sustainable farming practices, too, can make a big difference. By reducing the use of pesticides and creating wildlife-friendly habitats on farms, we can support biodiversity. And let's not forget about the power of legislation. Strong laws that protect endangered species and hold polluters accountable can go a long way in preserving our planet's biodiversity. The loss of one species is a loss for us all. Let's protect our planet's rich biodiversity. Because after all, a world without the flutter of a butterfly's wings or the chirping of birds isn't just dull. It's a world that's far less resilient, far less vibrant, and far less capable of supporting life as we know it. Scene script. Have you ever thought about where your trash goes after you throw it away? Let's take a moment to ponder that question. The reality is, once our trash is out of sight, it's often out of mind. But the truth is, every piece of waste we produce has a destination, and it's not always where we'd hope. Landfills around the world are overflowing, a stark indication of our society's reliance on disposable goods. The problem doesn't stop at overflowing landfills. Improper waste disposal is another pressing issue. When trash is not discarded properly, it finds its way into our natural environments, causing harm to wildlife and polluting our waterways. The effects of this pollution are far-reaching and long-lasting, contributing to a cycle of environmental degradation that impacts us all. And then there's the issue of recycling, or rather, the lack thereof. While recycling is a crucial step in waste management, it's not utilized as widely or as effectively as it could be. In fact, a significant portion of the waste we generate could be recycled, but isn't. This missed opportunity not only contributes to the waste problem, but also squanders valuable resources that could otherwise be reused. So what can we do about this? The solutions are simpler than you might think. Waste reduction is a key strategy. By consuming less and choosing products with less packaging, we can significantly reduce the amount of waste we produce. Recycling is another important step. By ensuring our recyclable waste ends up in the right place, we can help to conserve resources and reduce landfill waste. Composting is a fantastic way to reduce organic waste, turning food scraps and yard waste into nutrient-rich soil. Promoting sustainable waste management practices is crucial too. This means advocating for policies that prioritize waste reduction and recycling, and supporting businesses that do the same. So, let's remember, our trash doesn't disappear when we throw it away. It's time to rethink how we manage waste. Scene script. Are you ready to make a difference? In this journey, we've navigated the stormy seas of climate change, swam through the plastic-ridden waters of our oceans, witnessed the tragic loss of biodiversity, and climbed the mountains of waste that humanity has created. It's been a sobering journey, to say the least. But the good news is it's not too late to change the course. The Earth's climate is changing, and we're witnessing more frequent and severe weather events. It's up to us to mitigate this. We can reduce our carbon footprint by choosing renewable energy sources, investing in energy-efficient appliances, and advocating for policies that protect our environment. Our oceans are drowning in plastic waste, harming marine life and ecosystems. It's time for us to rethink our plastic consumption. Choose products with less packaging, recycle whenever possible, and consider reusable alternatives. By doing so, we are directly contributing to the health of our oceans. Biodiversity loss is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. The extinction of species not only disrupts ecosystems, but also poses a threat to our own survival. We can help by supporting conservation efforts, creating habitats in our own backyards, and advocating for laws that protect endangered species. Lastly, let's tackle the issue of waste management. Overflowing landfills, improper disposal, and lack of recycling contribute to pollution and environmental degradation. We can make a difference by reducing, reusing, and recycling, composting our organic waste, and demanding better waste management from our local authorities. We cannot afford to stand by and watch as our planet suffers. We each have a role to play in this grand scheme. It's time to roll up our sleeves and get to work. It's time to take action. Little changes in our daily lives can lead to big impacts. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every action counts. Together, we can make a difference for our planet.